Canada might be on the edge of flipping the entire playbook for North American trade and energy, and honestly, nobody saw this coming. For years, Ottawa tried to juggle Washington and Beijing, but now it looks like Canada's ready to run its own game, and the big spark is this wild debate over possibly ditching the 100% tariffs on Chinese electric cars. Sounds crazy, right? A few years ago, this would have been unthinkable, but Canada's auto sector has been slipping for so long that it's starting to look like the only way out. The EV shift pretty much exposed every crack in the system. Cars cost more than in the US and Europe. The industry can't modernize fast enough. Batteries are imported, investment is drying up, and Canada doesn't have the rare earths to keep up. Meanwhile, China sees Canada like an open lane on the highway. Beijing's got the world's biggest battery supply chain, the minerals, the tech, the whole vertical setup from lithium to the final product, and they're pitching Canada on joining a new Asia-Pacific industrial network. At the APEC summit in South Korea, PM Mark Carney and Xi Jinping talked climate and supply chains, but insiders say the real convo was about EVs, tariffs, and straight-up industry integration battery deals, critical minerals, and maybe even Chinese joint ventures on Canadian soil. And honestly, Canada can't ignore this anymore. The North American market is overheating because US tariffs blew things up, and staying tied to American rules is choking Canadian businesses. Reuters says the government's already floating this idea of slowly easing tariffs on Chinese EVs, opening the door bit by bit while trying to rebuild their own industry. Provinces are lining up to host Chinese assembly plants, which could mean jobs, cash, and actually affordable EVs. But down in Washington, they're absolutely not loving this. The whole US strategy has been keep China out of North America at all costs, and if Canada opens the door even a crack, Chinese EVs could roll in through the back entrance. The fear is that Canada becomes a legal loophole. EVs built partly in Canada could qualify as North American, letting them bypass Trump's wall of tariffs. US analysts are freaking out because this basically blows up the entire defense line America built during the trade war. Think tanks in DC say the White House is already having closed-door talks on how to pressure Ottawa, because if Canada shifts, Chinese tech gets way too close for comfort. But here's the twist. Canada's fed up with being collateral damage. Trump's tariffs didn't just hit China, they hammered Canadian factories that depended on Asian components, leaving production lines sitting dead. Canadians are tired of paying insane EV prices just to protect the US market. So now, dropping tariffs isn't about choosing China, it's about choosing survival. And with China owning most of the global battery market anyway, Canada's starting to see cooperation not as politics, but as straight economics. If Chinese companies set up shop in Canada, the US can't really stop it, and suddenly China has a foothold in North America without ever shipping a car directly to the US. That's the nightmare scenario for Washington. Tariffs becoming useless, the wall collapsing, and China reshaping the industrial map right on America's northern border. If Canada actually goes through with this, it won't just tweak trade policy, it could rewrite the whole balance of power in North America and put the US in a position where their pressure tactics just don't work anymore.